The moment I walked into that little restaurant in Charleston, South Carolina, I knew something was wrong. 4 of my closest friends were sitting near the entrance, trying far too hard to hide their grins. They weren't there for dinner. They were waiting to watch a show. My show. They had spent weeks convincing me to agree to a blind date, promising she was perfect for me. But as the woman walked through the front door, I saw my friends quietly pulling out their phones, waiting to record my reaction. They expected me to be embarrassed. They expected me to reject her. They expected me to become the cruel punchline of the evening. They had no idea that before the night ended, every single one of them would be wiping tears from their eyes. Before we continue, if you believe kindness is more attractive than appearance, and that everyone deserves a second chance, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who needs to hear this message, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us share more stories that remind people compassion still exists. My name is Nathan, and I was 36 years old when this happened. I had built a successful career as an architect, owned a comfortable home, and lived what many people considered the perfect American life. But after ending a painful engagement 3 years earlier, I had stopped dating completely. My friends insisted I needed to move on. They thought setting me up on a blind date would finally bring me back into the world. When the woman stepped inside, I immediately noticed she was plus-sized. She wore a beautiful emerald green dress, carried herself with quiet dignity, and looked incredibly nervous. Her name was Rebecca. She wasn't the woman my friends expected me to reject because of her appearance. She was simply someone hoping this evening wouldn't become another painful memory. The second our eyes met, I noticed something much deeper than her size. I saw fear, not the ordinary nervousness of meeting someone new, but the fear of someone who had been judged countless times before anyone even learned her name. As she approached the table, I stood up, smiled warmly, and pulled out her chair before she could do it herself. I introduced myself with genuine respect, and thanked her for agreeing to meet me. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw my friends exchange confused looks. Their cameras slowly lowered. The joke wasn't unfolding the way they had planned. The first few minutes were awkward, but not because of Rebecca. She was thoughtful, intelligent, and surprisingly funny. She taught elementary school at a small public school outside Charleston, and spent her weekends volunteering at a local food pantry. She spoke passionately about her students, remembering every child's dreams as though they were members of her own family. As the conversation continued, I realized I hadn't looked at my phone once. Hours seemed to disappear. We laughed about childhood memories, talked about our families, and shared stories about mistakes that had shaped who we became. Eventually, Rebecca admitted something that changed everything. She quietly confessed that she almost hadn't come. She explained that blind dates had become some of the worst experiences of her life. More than once, men had walked out the moment they saw her. One had laughed openly. Another had pretended to receive an emergency phone call, just to escape. She wasn't expecting romance anymore. She simply hoped someone would treat her like a human being for one evening. Hearing those words hit me harder than I expected, because years earlier, after my broken engagement, I had also felt invisible. Not because of my appearance, but because heartbreak convinced me I wasn't enough. While our struggles were different, the loneliness sounded exactly the same. As dinner continued, I noticed my friends becoming strangely quiet. They had stopped recording altogether. Then something unexpected happened. One of the servers accidentally dropped a tray nearby. Plates shattered across the floor, and the young waitress immediately burst into tears. Terrified, she had ruined the evening rush. Without hesitation, Rebecca stood up. She knelt beside the frightened waitress, helped gather the broken pieces safely, and gently reassured her that accidents happen to everyone. She even convinced several nearby customers to applaud the waitress when she finished cleaning everything up, turning an embarrassing moment into one filled with encouragement. The waitress cried again, but this time they were grateful tears. That simple act revealed more about Rebecca than any conversation ever could. When she returned to our table, I knew something inside me had changed. Near the end of dinner, my friends finally walked over. Their expressions no longer carried amusement. Instead, they looked ashamed. One of them admitted they had organized the blind date as a joke because they assumed I would refuse to stay. They believed my reaction would be entertaining enough to post online. Looking back now, they couldn't even explain why they thought it was funny. The restaurant became incredibly quiet. Every nearby table seemed to sense something important was happening. I looked at my friends, then at Rebecca. I reached across the table, gently took her hand, and thanked her, not because she had agreed to meet me, but because she had reminded me that character is impossible to measure with your eyes. I told my friends that if anyone should feel embarrassed that night, it wasn't Rebecca. It was every person who had ever decided someone's worth before hearing their story. Silence filled the room. One by one, my friends apologized directly to Rebecca. Some of them couldn't even finish speaking through their tears. The waitress we had helped earlier quietly placed a slice of cheesecake in front of us with a handwritten note that simply read, "Thank you for reminding us what kindness looks like." I still keep that note today. Rebecca and I left the restaurant together, under a warm South Carolina sunset. There wasn't some magical movie ending that night. There wasn't an instant declaration of love. There was simply mutual respect. And sometimes, that's where the greatest love stories begin. Over the next year, we became close friends before anything else. We learned each other's fears, celebrated each other's victories, and slowly built something stronger than attraction alone. Eventually, friendship became love, and love became a partnership built on trust instead of appearances. 2 years later, we stood together inside a small church surrounded by family and friends. Ironically, several of the same friends who had planned that cruel prank were now standing beside me as groomsmen, grateful that one terrible decision had taught them one unforgettable lesson. Today, Rebecca continues teaching children who adore her, and every afternoon she comes home carrying stories that make me laugh until my stomach hurts. People sometimes ask what first attracted me to my wife. They expect me to describe her smile or her eyes. Instead, I tell them about the evening she comforted a frightened waitress while everyone else watched. Because beauty fades, kindness doesn't. And the people who spend their lives searching only for perfection often miss the extraordinary souls standing quietly right in front of them. If this story touched your heart in any way, please like this video, share it with your friends and family, leave a heartfelt comment below, and subscribe to the channel. Every interaction helps these stories reach someone who may desperately need hope today. Before you go, please leave a comment with the words, "Kindness sees the heart." It would mean so much to know how many people still believe compassion is the greatest beauty of all. Sometimes, the greatest surprise in life isn't meeting the person everyone expects you to love. It's discovering that the person the world overlooked was the one who quietly changed your life forever. And in the end, the tears filling that restaurant weren't caused by humiliation or rejection. They came from the powerful realization that one simple act of kindness can rewrite someone's entire story, and perhaps even your own.